Hey, Stephen Screen from Better Fundraising here, and I was just looking at this big old packet direct mail, and I remembered something that happened to me that made me a better fundraiser, a much more effective fundraiser. It was about a newsletter, a lot like this one. Let me tell you, in hopes that it's as helpful to you. What happened to me is as helpful to you as it was to me. So it is the fall of 1993. I am freshly graduated from college, and I was working at a fundraising agency that helped large national nonprofits raise money, and had a mentor who had sort of all the experiences for all the things and was an incredible teacher. And it was my job to write my very first nonprofit newsletter. Right? So this is back in the days when I'm writing it on a computer and then I'm printing it out, and then I walk into his office and I hand him the stack of papers, and then he edits the newsletter. And so I was nervous. I'd never done one of these before, but I felt like I had done a good job, and handed him the paper, and he looked at the first page and sort of read everything, and looked at the second page and read some of it, and looked at the third and the fourth and fifth page and sort of flipped through them pretty fast. And then turned the stack of papers around and handed it back to me and said, "Why are you writing about the organization?" Which obviously struck me, right? This is, I didn't even know what to say at first. So I said, "What do you mean, why am I writing about the organization?" "It's their newsletter. It's about the organization." And then my mentor said something to me that I have never forgotten, that's been helpful for me basically every day since, which was, when donors open newsletters, they are not hoping to find out more about the organization. They are hoping to see themselves. They are hoping to find out more about the difference their gift made. That right there is a total shift. The newsletter shouldn't be about the organization. The donor is hoping to find more about themselves and their impact and what they did. I left that meeting a better fundraiser. I left a little annoyed because I had to rewrite the entire newsletter, but I had been taught a lesson incredibly effectively. And so I share that with you today because since then, when I or anybody on the team at Better Fundraising makes donor newsletters, we make them so that the person opening the envelope sees themselves in the organization's work incredibly clearly. They see that they had a role, not the whole role. Of course, there are boundaries. Of course, you have to be careful. But they need to see themselves, and they need to be told and shown that their gift made a difference. When you do that, all sorts of good things happen. There's all sorts of virtuous circles in play here, because many times people will send in gifts in response to the newsletter. That's how we make newsletters be revenue positive and be real sources of revenue throughout the year. Responses to appeal letters go up because people have seen in the newsletters that their gift made a difference, so they trust the organization more. They don't need to know more about your organization. They already gave. They know enough. You don't have to keep convincing them. Just show them that their gift made a difference. And then the next time you ask them, they're more likely to say yes. So I hope that you can learn this lesson less painfully than I did, not have to rewrite the whole thing. But for your next newsletter, make it about the recipient. Let them know that they played a big role. They funded this work, and they made a real difference. Once you know that, you start to think about newsletters differently, and they become better and more readable, which keeps your donors around for longer and raises you more, and you have more of an impact. That's it. Hold on. I should give you three things. I should give you three easy tips to make it about the recipient. Okay. Number one, use the word "you" often. Use it in headlines. Use it in subheads. Use it in eyebrows. Use it so that the donor sees the word "you" because it's a magic word for drawing people's attention. Number two, make sure that the donor is a character in every story. Right, so say you've got a 4-page newsletter like this one, and you've got 3 stories. That would kind of be a standard approach. Most of the time, the story is about just the beneficiary. Make sure your stories also include the donor. So, for instance, at the end of the first paragraph, you can say something like, "That's where your gift was helpful," or "Here's where you joined this story." Right? So, intentionally put the donor in the story. Okay, the final thing to do is this is a little bit complex, but just work with me for a second. Tell single stories of impact. Do not talk about the 343 people that were helped last month. Share one story of Gerald or Sherry or whomever, or 1 acre of the wilderness, not 400,000 acres. Here's why. Say I'm a donor. Say I'm a mid-level donor. I just gave you $500. I can't help 400,000 acres. I can't help 343 people last month. I know that I didn't do that. It's just not true. So what you need to do is right size your reporting. Then I can feel like it's about me. I can feel at whatever giving amount I gave that I helped 1 person. I can feel at whatever giving amount I gave that I could help 1 acre. So that's why you tell single stories, not big numbers, big stats. Those types of information are perfect for mega donors and for foundations and grant-making organizations. That's the scope that they're working at. But for your individual donors, you got to do it at the right size, at the right resolution. If you do all that, then the donor sees themselves. Then it feels like a newsletter for them instead of for everybody. Then they read it more. Then they're more likely to give. Then you get this virtuous circle where all sorts of good stuff happens. Hope that helps. Thanks. Good luck.